All right, guys, confession. I was so jealous of all of the pregnant women and new moms when I was trying to conceive my second child. And then I got pregnant and promptly had a miscarriage. And that jealousy turned into this like red hot resentment. I fixated, on what made these glowing childbearing women so much more deserving than me of the one thing that I wanted most. Their bellies felt like this personal affront. And this jealousy was most acute when it came to my cousins, two of my cousins who got pregnant at the same time I did. I lost my baby, they got to keep theirs. The, rational, loving side of my brain was happy for them. But the other side of me, the really loud, emotion-led side, wanted to completely ignore their healthy pregnancies, to pretend that everyone else's world had stopped when I lost my baby. So I did ignore their pregnancies, and I chose to focus on the women that were also navigating the grief of miscarriage. I made them my complete community. And this strategy, it eased my pain and resentment for a while, but something was like niggling at me, and it was judgment. I was judging myself for not just like graciously dealing with my pregnancy loss, for not being happy for all of the pregnant women, for feeling so much jealousy. And that's when I started sharing what I was actually feeling with other people. And this was not easy because I was pretty sure that feeling so much jealousy made me a really horrible person. But I don't know, I just had to share it. So I opened up to my community of women that had also had a pregnancy loss, and gratefully, I discovered that almost all of these women also felt intense jealousy towards pregnant women, towards new moms, especially those that they knew personally, because obviously we see tons of pregnant women and new moms on social media, but when you know those people personally, it's like, oh, you want what they have so badly. And this was a huge relief. I didn't have a black soul. I was having a very normal emotional response to my loss, to the trauma that I went through. So if you are in the same boat, if you are trying to become pregnant and you are just flooded with jealousy every time you see a pregnancy announcement or a round belly, know that what you're feeling is normal. You have nothing to be ashamed of, but because jealousy can be draining and it might cause tension in some of your relationships, here are some ideas that can help you navigate it. And these are ideas that were created through trial and error, through my own experiences, and that I bounce them off of, again, my community of fellow women who have had miscarriage or stillbirth. So first and foremost, I encourage you to tell your pregnant loved ones about your fertility struggles. So one of the best ways to feel, more connected and less resentful of pregnant friends and family members is to share your story with them. Because so often when we open up about the pain and frustration we're experiencing, we actually learn that so many of our loved ones can relate. For example, when I finally opened up to one of my pregnant cousins about my miscarriage, she shared that she had also had a miscarriage before conceiving the child that she was pregnant with. Of course, I wasn't happy that she had also gone through this loss. I didn't take pleasure in her pain, but it helped my jealousy fade. It helped me realize that, okay, she's not someone that's only touched by blessings and that she somehow deserves this perfect pregnancy more than I do. She knew my grief. She understood it, and that made me feel less alone. And I wouldn't have found out about her loss unless I had opened up about my own. I also encourage you to avoid comparing yourself to others. One of the most damaging aspects of jealousy is that it can cause us to, again, make those comparisons. We might start analyzing why we feel that, again, that pregnant person is more or less deserving of motherhood than we are. We might try uncovering, the secrets of what they did to become pregnant that we're not doing. But this train of thought, it rarely leads anywhere helpful. It often just intensifies our resentment towards that pregnant person, or makes us get down on ourselves. I got so obsessed with these comparisons that I would start thinking back on things I had done that probably gave me bad fertility karma. And then all those nights in high school where I drank too much alcohol or this or that. I mean, I really went down the rabbit hole. And then I would convince myself that all the pregnant people were probably pregnant because they never did anything morally questionable, and therefore they had good fertility karma. It was an exhausting and pointless and painful process. And the thing is, there's often no clear reason why one woman is able to quickly develop a healthy pregnancy and another is not. Sure, there are things like lifestyle, age, genetics, other health-related factors that can play a part, but it's not uncommon for two women of similar health and age to have vastly different fertility journeys. So when that urge to compare creeps up on you, try to redirect your mind. You can do this by making a list of all of the proactive ways, you're supporting your fertility health, connecting with someone who can relate to your frustrations, or, you can simply engage in something totally unrelated to fertility that just makes you feel good. All right. Something else that we should probably all do more often is to mute the social media accounts that trigger you. As you might have noticed, social media can be an emotional minefield. It can constantly, smack you in the heart with yet another pregnancy announcement or birth announcement when you least expect it. There were so many times when I'd be having a good day, a day where I wasn't consumed with thoughts of my fertility challenges, of pregnancy loss, and then bam, social media would remind me that my uterus was still empty and pretty much every other woman was pregnant. Obviously that wasn't true, but that's how it felt. So you can take back some control over your mental and emotional health by doing as I did and muting all of those triggering accounts. When you are eventually pregnant, then you can turn them back on and bask in that community. But for now, it will probably be too painful. All right, next, find a community of women who know what you are going through. You remind yourself that you are not the only woman who has had a loss or is struggling to get pregnant by connecting with other women in a similar situation. There are so many great communities out there, online and in person, for fertility struggles, for pregnancy loss. So again, you can connect with those support groups online or in person. You can engage with social media accounts aimed at that topic. However, know that, each support group and online community is not created equal. It might take some time to find the right fit for you. So for support groups, I encourage you to sit in on 1 or 2 meetings to see if you resonate with the group. If you don't, just move on to the next one. Keep doing this until you found a community that makes you feel really, really safe and supported. And the same goes for online, social media accounts. Spend some time, perusing the posts, the comments on different accounts, searching for the one that has, the vibe that you're looking for, because each one will probably have a slightly different stance on fertility struggles and pregnancy loss. And so once you have found your people, I encourage you to really engage. While it can be tempting to just sit on the sidelines and, see what other people are talking about, true support often comes when you share your story and you start to make one-on-one connections with other women in the group. Next, say no to social obligations that will put you in an uncomfortable position. If you receive an invitation to a gathering that will place you in a space with pregnant women or new moms and you just don't feel up for it, you have every right to say no, thank you. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your emotional comfort for the sake of socializing. So if that invite comes and all of your instincts are saying no, do that. You can make up an excuse, or you can just say no, thank you. Or, if you feel emotionally safe with the host, you can be straight up and tell them that the situation will likely be too triggering for you. Thank you so much for thinking of me and inviting me, but I'm just not in a good space to be around pregnant women and new moms. And this is where it can get tricky. If the host is the pregnant person or new mom, you can also tell them that, your resistance towards seeing them has nothing to do with them and their baby, and everything to do with you and your fertility journey. It's really not personal. And you can just share that you're navigating immense grief and being around someone that has the one thing that you want so badly can feel heartbreaking. All right. So kind of bouncing off of that one, create ground rules for get-togethers with pregnant women and new moms. Because there will likely be times when you do want to connect with loved ones who are pregnant or have a new baby. So for those interactions, it can be really wise to create some parameters. The first that I recommend is that you ask your loved ones to not bring up pregnancy and motherhood. Let them know that it's a really sensitive topic for you, and if you feel like discussing it, you will bring it up. The next one is that they don't offer, this is a big one, ask them to not offer any advice for your fertility journey. It can be super annoying when someone that has a healthy pregnancy or a new baby starts throwing out all these fertility tips you've almost certainly already tried. And of course, if you want, you can let them know, I'll ask if I want tips or I want to hear about how you got pregnant, but you should be the one that seeks it out. They shouldn't just dump all these fertility tips on you, because it can be so annoying. All right, next up, give yourself space and time to regularly feel all of the feels. Because trying to suppress emotions can make them fester, it can be really helpful to create intentional moments where you allow jealousy or resentment or anger or whatever it is that's coming up to move through you. And so to do this, you can set aside an hour or so, find a cozy private space, turn off your phone, and just let your mind go there. Let yourself think about how unfair it feels that all these other people are getting pregnant, that you keep having your period, that you were so sure that you would have a baby in your arms by now and you don't. If tears, if rants or whatever needs to come up, just let them. Give yourself permission to feel. Regularly engaging in this release, it can be one of the best ways to lighten your emotional load and move forward. And Above all, remember that you do not need to feel ashamed for the emotions that arise in you when you are trying to conceive or after you've had a loss. You are not a bad person for not feeling thrilled when loved ones get pregnant. You know, you get to put your heart first and focus on loving yourself as you take your next steps towards meeting that healthy baby that is somewhere in your future.